Joining me today is the fabulous Adam Markiewicz, co-creator of Broken Bear, oftentimes collaborator with my good friend and collaborator Frankie White, who created Starless Daydream. Adam, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Money Shot.
Money Shot is going to be a really good book to talk about. Fair warning to anyone in the chat. We are going to have to censor some pages to keep up with the Twitter terms and services because, as you can probably see by the cover, Money Shot is a bit of a naughty book.
Just a little.
Just a little
Just
bit.
a smidge.
So while we love the book, Twitter terms and services doesn't like certain things on... Sorry, Twitch terms and services don't like certain things on Twitch. So bear with us as we have to do some censoring along the way. It's a really cool team, and as Adam and I were just talking about a second ago before everything balked on me, Frankie is a really great collaborator that we both love working with, and we were just talking about how Adam's got some not allowed to talk about stuff coming up, which I'm really excited about, one of which being with the Broken Bear team, including AHG and Frankie. And I was talking about how Frankie was really great for my first experience in comics with the page that I did for Starless Daydream. And it's really great to work with people who like Frankie and like Ryan, actually. I talk about Ryan Lindsay a lot on the show because my current practice sequentials project is a script by Ryan. And he just gave me this 3-page script and said, here you go, change it however you want. And I've just sent him a few things here and there. And he's like, yeah, I fucking love it. This is great. It's just really nice to work with people who are interested in collaborating with their artists and vice versa. So this seems to have been like a pretty similar effort with 2 writers collaborating on it and a great art team, which is a really cool thing to see out in the world.
Oh yeah.
And with that said, with that little bit of a catch up, we are up to looking at the book. So yeah, first things first, if you haven't read the book and you care about spoilers, bugger off, come back later today or tomorrow after you've read the book, and then watch this on YouTube. But if you don't care about spoilers, or you've already read the book, watch on. So it's Hackin' Tim Seeley, Sarah Beattie, Rebekah Isaacs, Kurt Russell, not that Kurt Russell, the other Kurt Russell, and Crank on lettering. I am always excited to see Crank on a cover because the lettering that they do is really cool.
I'm actually not, other than this, not overly familiar with Crank.
I can't remember, like, right now off the top of my head which other book I've seen Crank work on. But I remember that every book I've seen it on, I've really dug the work. But of course, being me, I can't remember them off the top of my head right now with the old ADHD memory.
I do like that you pick up on the lettering though, because that's something that doesn't. A lot of people don't seem to pick up on.
Yeah.
And don't understand how important lettering really is to a good comic. And this is one where I would agree that the lettering on this is great. It really, you want lettering that has, that fits the book, but isn't overpowering, isn't too fancy, isn't too, but it just feels so rare for people to. It's such an important part of comic books. It's been there from the very beginning. It's how you read them, and yet nobody seems to care about it as an art form.
It really is. And what I've myself and quite a bunch of other people actually have talked about across the show is that my philosophy with lettering is that on a first read, you don't notice good lettering because it blends so well with the artwork and the story and adds to the immersion that it's done its job of sucking you in and fitting the tone. But whenever I look at a book after I finish reading it, yeah, heck yes, that lettering stands out to me as, oh, that's why I liked that page so much, because this fit the emotions and the color of the lettering blended with the severity of the background or things like that. But if you are reading a book and the lettering is not good, it pulls you out of the story immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
You notice bad lettering. You don't
exactly.
notice good lettering. That
Yeah.
and I get that's why a lot of people don't pick up on it as easily. But I mean,
Um,
it's like any part of it. It's every part of it has to work.
yeah, exactly. And have you read Grumble?
No, that's
That's one that Crank
high
did
on
as
my
well.
list. Okay,
And
all
that
right.
is,
That's Mike Norton, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. And I've talked about that one on the show. And Crank's work on that book was fucking top rate. It was so good. It was perfect for the story that was being told.
Well, I mean, like I said, that's high on my list, so I'll get to that one soon.
Yeah, I will be very keen to hear your thoughts when you have read it. Um, where did you go? Oh no. Oh no, there it is. That's what I did. Okay. So we're doing a two-pronged attack with the book today, folks, because of the adult content. I have two copies of it open to flick through so that I can make sure that we don't miss anything. So here's the intro blurb, which is pretty cool. I like the way they did that, kind of almost a Star Wars opening crawl esque little trope there.
Yeah, but with a little, not like overpowering humor, but a little humor.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that. Okay, so probably that page we'll throw a little censor up on. That's good. All right. There's a little nude booby there, and we don't want to get in trouble. Right, and like it opens up straight away telling you what's going on. Like this is a book about porn and science porn, and porn science. You know, it's almost impossible to separate the two. Like they
Yeah.
create new drone camera technology just to make better porn to fund their scientific expeditions. And we open up immediately in the middle of one of their cam shows.
That opening splash is great.
Yeah. Yeah, and Rebekah Isaacs' art. Damn, Met Comixology, why you gotta do me like this? Like every second episode, it'll log me out just as we start. There we go. Oh yeah, that's right. And they invented a translator, a universal translator, just so that they can do the exploration and do their whole thing here. And so the story goes that they were a bunch of, well, they're not exactly astronomers, were they? They're like astrobiologists or something.
They were all well. They were all. I think they were all different. Different areas of science, but all they had been brought into the same team.
Yeah, that's right.
The Star Shot team, which becomes the Money Shot team. But like one is an epidemiologist.
Yes, that's right.
One is like linguist. I don't remember exactly what the others are, but it's sort of that idea of
Yeah.
they all have different specialties and focuses in science, and they were part of this team that was meant to be explorers.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the main lady in the middle here, I think she was the physicist that like did
She
most of the
invented
invention on the teleporter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like this though the just the character work,
yeah,
like so much of who these characters are, and it's one shot of them.
right. Like yeah, you can immediately tell that she is the leader, but also like she's the bossy one.
Yeah, and you got the bald guy, super massive black hole. I remember his point.
Yeah.
Is like super into it, and the other guy, I can't remember. I'm bad with character names in my own books, so this is
Yeah. I think he's Niels Bohr, and the girl
Right.
with the bob is Trinity Spheres. Because she keeps making jokes about bowls throughout the majority of the comic. So
Right.
she's definitely Trinity Spheres.
Right. Oh well, all the names are here. Okay,
Yeah,
and then Constance Plank. Right, and the main girl's Tesla Coil.
yeah, yep, yep. Yeah, and I love how even here, like the little fish dude, his outfit is kind of just a loinclothy type thing, but it's also like very obviously uh fucking BDSM harness,
Yeah.
but not. And yeah, so if I remember rightly, the basic story is that the government they got a Trump analog in office, and they decided to defund the program. But they'd spent so long working on it and made so many advancements that they're like, well, no, we're not stopping. So how can we fund this? And I know it
Yeah,
shows us as
that's
we go
basically it.
further into the comic, but that was the basic thing. Is like they're like, oh well, how are we going to fund ourselves?
Well, and also that Earth had been contacted by a like alien like space federation to and offered the chance to join, but then they got to look at how terrible Earth is, and we're like, no,
Yes, that's right.
you guys can suck it, and they left.
Yeah, yeah,
That's actually something that comes up in the second story arc. They introduced the president in that one.
yeah. He's such a douche.
Well,
All
I
right.
had a pretty good example for that. So
Yeah, I think this page is safe. It's not particularly graphic. So
yeah, none of these are really.
yeah, they're
That's
mostly
sort of
pretty
the amazing
good.
thing. That's sort of the amazing thing about this comic is that it you know it doesn't hold back in terms of what in terms of the story or what the characters are or anything, but it's not real graphic.
Yeah, like it's explicit, but it's not
Yeah,
unnecessarily graphic.
it's none of it, and none of it feels forced. None of it
Yeah,
feels like out of place. It feels very there's a sort of naturalism to how it's all shown.
yeah, yeah. That's it. It doesn't feel like they're just trying to shock ya. Like
Yeah,
some comics that I've read, that the nudity is just there to be shocking and oh, but it's just part of the story here. This is what they do. And this is a great a scene to show the team as well in their natural environment. You know, like supermassive black hole isn't even listening to the briefing, and he's bicep curling a microscope.
yeah.
And like they're talking about their whole thing where they're losing their funding now. And yeah, like the little effects, the little sound effects lettering that Crank does here, like the bloody papers being tossed into the bin, like
Yeah.
that wasn't necessary. You know, like it would be fine with just the lines, but it's so much better with just that cute little sound effect, I think.
That's possibly I mean that could be drawn in.
Yeah,
That could just be part of the art. So that might have been Rebekah Isaacs doing that.
that's true. I know that Crank does a lot of special sound effects, little things for the other books as well. So I'm not
Yeah, a
sure.
lot of that depends on there are. I know there are some artists who will do their own
Yeah,
hand drawn effects. Um, I used to do that myself, and I was never very good at. Although
I'm not great at it either.
My first comics job was actually hand lettering, because I'm an old man. Um, but I even on that, the artist was doing most of the sound effects.
Yeah, cool.
Um, but but yeah, I know it really depends on the artist and the nature of it, and so that's one
Yeah.
either way, it's a great effect. It's
Yeah,
nice to
yeah, and
color
that's it.
from that, but
Whoever did it, like, I feel like the panel would have looked fine with just the motion lines and no sound effect, but it's better. It's so much
yeah.
just a nicer touch to have that tiny
Well,
little
it's good.
sound
It's
effect in
just
there.
great. It's great placement. Just it's this nice little. It fits right into the page, and
Yeah, exactly. And I love the little touches here, like the office posters in the background with Comic Sans lettering, and the "Did you clean your
yeah,
dishes?" Like, it's such a shared office space thing, and they just really nailed it with that.
yeah,
And also the texture of the rain in this first panel, like, that's
yeah.
not.
I mean, just everything about that. The coloring too. It's got that nice like gray effect. And
Mm, that's not something I've really learned how to do yet, and I always appreciate it when I see it well done. Like, I don't know how
falling
you've done
rain
it.
sucks.
Yeah.
Falling rain sucks.
Yep.
But
I see good falling rain. I'm like, I don't know how you did it, but I know that this is a good example of it.
that's one of those things. If I have to do it, I just like, let me find this artist and see how they did it.
Yeah. All right. Hang on. I've lost me. I love how they set up the antagonistic relationship between Bree and, oh, I've forgotten her name again already now. The main scientist.
Chris.
Yeah, that's the one, Chris. Like, here, Bree's trying to ignore her and doing her morning yoga and flipping her off in the meantime, and
Yeah. Right. Okay. So they're all their actual names. Maybe I can remember them first. Right. So it's Bree and then Annie. Annie's the nicest one.
yeah, Annie is the nicest one.
Uh,
Also, the
Doug
most.
is
I
the.
would say she's the most dangerous one.
What makes you say that?
Well, I'm not sure if you've seen it in some of the stuff that you've read, but the way she weaponizes her knowledge of.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think if I were going to alien worlds, I'd want to do the same thing. So
Yeah, but like, like you've got the big dude here who is, big and strong and tough and whatnot, but no, I don't want to get on the wrong side of Annie.
yeah. But she's also super nice. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
like, you'd have to do pretty wrong to get on the wrong side of Annie. That's right, Christina Campo. That's the one.
Right.
Yeah, and we're setting up the whole thing where they're blaming her for losing the funding for the whole team because she's the one that came up with Starshot, and then the department put all of the rest of them onto this project.
So this is good though. This whole scene is laying down. It's all exposition, and it's giving you not only who these people are, their relationships to each other, and
Yeah,
then what each of them does. So you
right?
get, okay, so Bree is, does her, she has an animal communications project. Annie's the epidemiologist. Omar is astrophysicist. Doug is biochemist. So they're all given these, oh, okay, so it's this, but it's not done in like a, here's what's going on, here's who this. It's done in a more fun way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. And look, honestly, like, everyone in the team has done an amazing job. Like, the colorist has done an amazing job. Rebekah Isaacs' art, I love this style.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm gonna write many comics in my career. I sure would love to, but at some point, I would love to write something cool and sci-fi and weird, and work with Rebekah because I love this style.
Yeah. It's, I mean, this is the kind of, I look at this stuff and I'm like, I should be drawing like this. Like it, that's I don't know. That's just I don't know if that's a normal thing for artists, but a lot of time I will read another comic and go, well, that's how I should be drawn.
No, I know what you mean. It's why I try to sort of rejig my thinking a little bit and go, this is a style I would like to aspire to, rather than like how I should be drawing. I try to look at different books and go, I love how this person draws hair. I'm going to learn how they do that. Without, because with
Yeah,
my ADHD, the second I start comparing myself to everybody else, I can spiral real bad.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I used to, at one point I was just aping Mike Mignola's style.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
This is years ago. It was before I really had any published work, and I actually had a portfolio review with Dark Horse, and they were just like, "All you're doing is aping Mignola. Like we're not going to," which was funny to me at the time because I'm like, "Well, don't you guys have like 10 people that draw like him, and doesn't he only draw like part of one of his books here and there?" And I could fill in, but it was at the time I really was like I was very distinctly looking at his stuff and copying it, and not just drawing naturally. I guess.
And it's
So
hard
yeah,
to do
I've
early
also
on.
yeah, but I've had to learn what you were saying too, where it's just sort of this. Okay, I'll have that in mind while
Yeah.
I'm drawing. But I'll look at it while I'm reading something. If I'm really enjoying the art, I'll really look at it and sort of get, oh, that's how they do that. Okay, and
Yeah.
you get sort of a mental catalog of it's like learning the language of comics. You just get this mental catalog of techniques and styles and things.
Yeah, the thing I'm most envious here with Rebekah's work is the faces.
Yeah,
The way she structures her faces, and like especially for some reason the noses are really standing out to me. Like the economy of line that she's using to draw these faces and these noses, but giving each character a distinct and consistent style of nose for that character.
yeah. The consistency is the part that really pisses me off because I can't do that.
Right?
Like it's really like I I hate her for it.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
And the hair, like I really struggle with hair because I grew up watching a lot of anime and started learning to draw mimicking the anime that I was reading and then started trying to force myself to mimic the comics that I was reading. But I still have a hard time drawing a more naturalistic Western comics style head of hair on a lot of characters. And I'm always envious when I can see someone who like you've drawn like 4 lines here, but it looks like a whole head of hair. What the fuck? How did
yeah.
you do that? And just the shapes and the structure and the way it falls is phenomenal. And here with like all the tech in the book, the colorist has done a fantastic job with the lighting effects.
Yeah, yeah. The coloring in this is also absurdly good.
It really is. It's phenomenal work. Like and here like facial hair. Like I suck at drawing facial hair. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna admit that right now. And here I am drawing a 3-page comic with a dude with a big fucking bushy beard and a fancy haircut. And I'm looking at this 5 o'clock shadow half beard that this dude's got, and it's so well rendered. It's just dashes and lines. But how Rebekah knows exactly where to put them so that they don't just look like a mess of dashes and lines.
Yeah, yeah. Beards are tough. Stubble's easier.
Yeah, I'm really struggling. I've got a panel right now which is like a medium close up of the character with the beard, and I'm just like tearing my hair out over it to get it to look natural and not like a block of wood that's carved in the shape of a beard.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you have to start drawing a lot of crowds, you'll want to just have panels with beards instead. Crowds are not like it, I used to fear drawing crowds. The thing with crowds is they get tedious, especially if you're drawing a lot of them, because you're drawing a lot of people. And it's like the last few books I've worked on, I've had to draw a lot of crowd stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not looking
Crowds
forward to.
annoy me.
I'm really not looking forward to doing crowds or
Yeah,
bikes.
yeah, bikes. I don't think I've had to draw a bike yet, and I don't want to. I've had to draw tanks and what was it? A lot of buildings. A lot of the last two things I've done have been in cities. So
Yeah,
a lot of like cityscapes and rooftops, and which actually that's not so bad either. But it's time consuming. That stuff ends up being time consuming.
yeah, it is.
But it's funny when you do that, because then it's like, things that you maybe feared before. So you've done this big, a few pages of a big crowd scene, and maybe you used to hate doing beers, and you get to a guy with a beer, and you're like, oh man, finally something easy. You just feel different about it afterwards.
Yeah. No, I can
But
imagine.
that's also, I mean, that's the thing though, is you need those challenges anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And I love here how we get this, this private conversation with Omar and Chris, and we get the revelation that they used to be a couple, and then Chris is like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, we can't do this again. And we see how the dean and the board have nicknamed the project Money Shot because it's too expensive and hasn't worked yet.
They call her Money Shot, as in she blows the load like a pro.
Yeah. And then we've got this scene where she's settling in for some self-loving and shoos the cat out. And
I love the cat.
yeah,
Fucking love the cat in this. That's some perfect cat writing.
right? The cat's so judgy.
Yeah. But I love the weirdo porn that comes up with Godzilla and
Oh,
some
yeah.
old guy in a tutu.
Yeah. And it's called cliterature.com.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, that's right. So
Right.
cliterature
It's been
disappeared.
it's been replaced by Gonzo Mundo.
Oh, that's right. The most unusual sex on planet Earth.
I mean, come on, it's Godzilla with a strap on. I'm kind of amazed that doesn't exist, and it probably does.
It probably
And I'm not
does.
gonna look for it.
Yeah, if you Google it, it probably exists.
Probably.
I love this how she starts going through some of the different comments and the usernames. Lord of the Dongs.
Yeah. Man, that cat though.
Yeah,
needs
yeah,
to
the,
be in it.
the cat's threatening revenge in the other room.
Squirt Bert 69.
Yep, and then I love here how she's trying to give everyone the spiel on hey let's do webcam porn. But here are all the reasons why it's good and why you should totally do it because you can do this science in the process.
I also like that they're all still just doing the same thing.
Yeah. Whoop. Let's skip that page because it's a bit graphic for Twitter. And then they're getting their first reviews after their first scene, and she's just losing it.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we also start getting to see the little bit of jealousy and tension with Omar.
I love those fish guy designs.
Yeah, I love the designs here. I love how they've like they're in a desert, but they still have an octopus, and it's pulling the cart.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. How did I miss that? Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. I'm not going to show the next page just in case Twitch balks the
Yeah,
video,
yeah,
but it's so funny.
yeah. Oh, that guy is great.
Yeah. Right? They're discovering this new power source. A means of reaching an orgasm capable of generating an energy release on the level of nuclear fission.
And Chris is just like, that'll get us a score of at least 9.
Yeah. Also, like, the whole thing here, the buit, you're wrong. Buit is a verb. It means to die horribly in an alien gladiatorial ring while still chilling in the afterglow of a good nut. They've done such a good job with this book. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the whole series is
Yeah.
really cool. You get to see a lot of really cool tech, a lot of really weird aliens, and obviously there's lots of sex. Uh,
Yeah, but the characters are really good.
exactly. Like
Story,
the sex is there, but it's not
yeah.
despite
It's a
the
part of
story.
it. It's an integral part of the whole thing because it's
Yeah,
about these characters and their relationships and how sex sort of plays into that, and but there's also the kind of the story of this alien race they go to in the first
yeah,
story
and it's
of it is
also
very repressed.
right. And it's also the story of how literally anyone can do sex work for any reason, and it's fine, and it's good, and it's helpful, and in this case, it's funding so much scientific advancement for the benefit of everyone in society, and they're doing it by doing freaky webcam stuff. It's like it's a really good book for like, while not telling a normal story, for normalizing the concept of anyone from any walk of life in any industry doing sex work, and that
Yeah,
it's not the whole thing about who they are. Like, these guys are doing it to fund their thing, but they're also all their own people doing amazing and interesting things.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's I can't add to that. That's basically it. That's it. I think that's one of the things I really like about it is that it has a very healthy attitude about what sex can be, who it can be. It's for everybody. It's not meant to be this guarded evil thing. This shameful thing. It's I mean that's the whole point of the alien race that they go to is that it's been this sort of um, controlled, repressed thing that
Yeah,
has destroyed the planet. Um, and but the sex work thing, yeah, that's I mean that I remember a while back there being a story about I think it was a nurse who had an OnlyFans account,
yeah, an EMT.
and yeah, and got like harassed about it, and I think may have even gotten fired.
Yeah, she had to leave her job because of it.
Yeah, and it's like she wasn't doing anything wrong. She wasn't involving her workplace. Maybe think about why an EMT needed to have an OnlyFans. But
Right? And yeah, she was having a good time and she was making good money.
yeah,
So,
if I mean that's my attitude with that stuff. Anyways, like if it's your choice and you're doing it because you want to, then
yeah, then
do
it's
it.
nobody's business.
Right.
Except for your paying
So
customers.
yeah, and if you're getting paying customers, great.
Yeah,
Good for
that
you.
exactly. And that's what I love about this book. Is
Yeah,
is that, like it presents it in a destigmatized, just, hey, look, here's a bunch of people having adventures and doing cool shit. They also do porn.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not even the primary focus.
No, exactly. And that's what I loved about it because, you know, so many people try to reduce adult workers and adult performers and sex workers to that. And that's it. Like as if that's all they are. But it's not. Like I
Yeah.
know I know a bunch of people here in Brisbane that do OnlyFans work. And they're also like artists, chefs, writers, creators of all kinds, you know, and just they have all kinds of detailed and varied and massive lives away from that. That's just the way they wanted to work and earn their money, and that's cool. Good for them.
It might actually be worth mentioning Sarah Beattie, the
Yeah.
co-writer of this book. She
Yep.
has an OnlyFans.
She does. Yeah, Sarah has her own
So,
OnlyFans.
yeah.
And from what I understand, she's doing pretty well with it. So go Sarah.
Yeah. You know, it's like if no one forced her, you know, no one was
Yeah.
like, you have to. There's you know, she on her own went and did that.
Yep. I know a couple of good friends who do OnlyFans work and they make like they pay their rent. They buy their groceries. They afford their day-to-day lives with OnlyFans and they're having a great time.
I have a close friend who's done modeling work, you know, a lot of like nude modeling work, and you know, she considers it an art.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is another creative endeavor.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of content that you can create. You
Yeah.
know, from explicit content to like art house, highly conceptual photography stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that can be done, and it's all an art form in its own right.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much skill and time.
It's existed in human history forever,
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning.
Exactly.
The earliest cave paintings up through now is you know, everything. If something's invented, people immediately find a way to use it for sex. You know, so much of our society is built. I mean, look at how many things in our society, in all cultures, are phallic.
Yeah, yeah. You know every few years they dig up another kind of ancient dong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so that's what has always amused me, is it's so part of us. It's you know, it is. I mean, it's basically from our own animalistic desire to procreate, but it, you know, it
Yeah.
is part, you know, because we have the mental capacity we have to sort of have, you know, figure out this way to deal with it, and it becomes art, it becomes, you know, business, it becomes whatever, and you know, a book like this is good because it really is just, yeah, it's part of who we are, and it's how we're going to go out into the galaxy.
Yeah, and that's it. And like, yeah, long story short, Money Shot is a really good sci-fi book. It's a really good comedy book. It's also a fantastically pro sex work, a pro artist book. So if you haven't read it, you should read it. And if you're a little bit on the fence because, oh, I don't know about reading a book with all that sex in it, that's fine. You don't have to read it, but I highly suggest you do because it might change your mind about some stuff. It
Absolutely agree.
it might make you think a little bit more objectively about sex and sex work and relationships and how then it's all not really that big a deal. It doesn't have to be
Absolutely.
a big dramatic deal. Also, it's funny as fuck, man. This is a really good book.
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
so
it is
many
very.
great dick, butt, vagina, boob, fart jokes, like, but also really smart science jokes. It's not all low hanging fruit, even though it's filthy as hell.
Yeah, a
So
lot of
it's
great little character moments,
mm-hmm.
a lot of great little background details. Yeah,
Yep.
just it's a top level book.
And like literally, this final page that I've got covered up right now, there is a fish dude meditating and levitating using his testicles to support himself. Like, there's not a
And he
bit
does
really.
more with those later on too.
Yeah, there's not really a better final page of a first issue than a dude levitating off his nuts. Honestly, it's a sight to behold, and it's really funny. So go check it out and give this team some love because they've put in a lot of work and they've created a really cool, positive story that everybody can enjoy. Unless you're underage, then don't read it. Then wait a couple of years and
Yes,
then read it.
you must be 18 to read this book.
Yeah, it's definitely an 18 plus book. But if you're over 18, go get it. I just dropped the link in the chat. Have the link in the description. It's a great art team. It's a great writing team, and it's just a good book all around.
Yep.
So that brings us almost to the end of the hour. So what are you up to that you can talk about right now?
Well, I do have a Patreon.
Excellent.
And if people like Money Shot, I have a book that I've been working on there. It's similar in idea, and I was working on it like right when Money Shot was announced. But it's called Into the End Zone. I'm working on it with a writer named Michel Leclerc, and he's from Canada. He and I have collaborated on little things that never went anywhere before, but we started working on this, and it's a sci-fi series about a team in the 1950s working on an interdimensional portal, and somehow consistently find themselves naked.
Nice. I like it.
So it's not as much about sex as Money Shot, but it's a lot of nudity, and I've gotten to draw some fun monsters and alien creatures and interdimensional creatures, and I'm starting up the next story arc this coming week. I try to do a page a month because I've got to do it around my other work. So that's on my Patreon. $1 a month gets access to the whole thing, and there's other sketches, drawings, stuff I put up there, and that's anything for me across the board is at Adman Comics. So
Excellent.
Adman Comics, that's the easiest way to find me on anything. Other than that, just the thing I'm about to work on with Frankie that I can't talk about. But
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm so stoked to see that.
That's gonna knock some heads off, I think.
And as far as for me, you all know, well, most of you will know that I do the Shifting Spire, which is my monthly D&D game show. The next contestants are up on the 23rd of this month, and it's Roll for Damage, and it's set to be the most Takeshi's Castle inspired episode yet. I've put some really fucked up traps in there, and it's going to be amazing. And like literally in 50 minutes for Jasper's Game Week, I will be playing my character Alistair Ray in a Ravenloft horror one-shot for charity. I will be hosting it here on my channel, but if you actually want to get involved, come and donate some wild magic surges to me so I can fuck shit up real bad. Then help us raise money for suicide prevention and awareness over on the Ardent Roleplay channel for Jasper's Game Week in 1 hour. 12 o'clock Australian Eastern Time. That's like something o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I think it's like 11 p.m. Eastern.
In 1 hour?
Yeah.
It'll be a little after 10.
There you go. 10 p.m. Eastern. All right. So this has been No Capes. I have had the wonderful Adam Markiewicz here. Read Broken Bear if you haven't already. I just linked it in the chat. AHG is in the chat. So go support these two amazing creators.
Hi AHG.
And until next time, this right now is the last episode for the season of No Capes, because I need to take a bit of a work hiatus so that I can focus on actually finishing some comics of my own, finish writing my D&D projects that are half done and almost ready for publishing, and get 3 Kickstarters ready by the end of the year. So stay tuned for that. I'll probably only get 2 of them ready. One of them is like already partly done because it's a reprint of the 5e player screen. So if you missed out on those the first time around because they sold out, couldn't believe that, sold out 1,000 pieces in 1 year. For my first ever crowdfunded D&D thing, that was pretty cool. I'm going to be doing a second print run of those. Stretch goal is going to be new artwork for the outside. And hopefully by Christmas, I'll have my card game, Duel & Dungeons, ready on Kickstarter. It's like this close. My board game, Squirrel Wars, is going to be a little bit further along, but you'll be able to join me here on the channel for some live virtual playtesting of it as I develop it more through the year. Once I take a break from No Capes and use those hours that I spend making No Capes to write and actually do some damn work. So thank you for joining me today, Adam. It's been a pleasure. I'm really stoked that we actually got to do this episode after so long.
Yeah. I got the time zones right this time.
Yep. Now I only need to do an episode with AHG for season 3 sometime, and then I'll have the Broken Bear team done.
Yeah, get AHG, get on there.
So season 3 at this stage is probably going to be January next year. We'll see what happens. But this has been a great season. I am sad to cut it short because I love making No Capes. But right now I actually need to make some money. And my Patreon, which I'm going to link right now, if you want to help me make more stuff, please go check out Patreon. Because my Patreon is new and small, and I need to actually get a bunch of stuff finished so I can sell it. And I have probably the biggest opportunity of my career that I also can't talk about yet until I finish making the announcement videos coming up in the second half of this year. We're probably recording in July, but it's going to be huge. It's going to be a short mini-series that I'm working on. I can tell you that it's inspired by my current show, Shifting Spire, but it's going to be snappier, and it's going to be exciting, and it's going to have some amazing guests. So stay tuned for the official announcements with that real soon. Hopefully maybe next week even. But thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Adam, for joining me.
Thank you, Sean.
All of my guests for these past 2 seasons are on my short list for season 3, so I can keep talking to the people that I love talking to, as well as new guests. But for now, I have to go and do sound check for this next show that I'm on in like 40 minutes. So, and I'm going to let Adam go and enjoy the rest of his night. I hope you have a great weekend. It's Thursday for you, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. Well, I hope tomorrow is good and you have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.
And,
sounds like it's going to be busy, but you know.
Yeah. Well, today's going to be busy. Tomorrow's going to be a little more relaxing. And then Mother's Day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, thank you, everyone. Until next time, this has been No Capes. Stay tuned for the teaser for the next episode of The Shifting Spire right now, while I go get ready for a charity game. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Hello, adventurers. And we're off the air. Welcome
to The Shifting Spire.
Hello.
Certainly not.
Oh, what the fuck?
Start to dig a little hole and then just kind of like lay in the hole now that I'm normal sized again. and take a little wombat nap.
And again, you can see windows to the north and another torch. Would you like to light the torch?
All right.
Don't look out windows.
We're not going to look out the window. We know what happened last time.
As you approach it, you can hear... And where its face should be is a peachy, round arse.